what? Just start by telling me, how important is this program? I don't know who wants to speak first.
We'll just all go.
Not all at once.
Start. Or Marcia, who did it as a student.
Yeah, Marcia would be a great start.
Okay, well then you can tell me a little bit about it then. Start off. Maybe that'll be easier.
Sure. So the LS Lamp program is a great opportunity for students that are interested in STEM, so your science, technology, engineering, and math, to have an alliance with other like-minded people, and then also people who are vested in mentoring and developing them. And so for me, I would believe that, LS Lamp is incredibly important because it allows for exposure for students that are from underserved populations and that may not have seen careers in STEM, or, even, maybe they were curious about pursuing it, but just didn't have the support needed to do that. And that support can be through peer or tier mentoring, as well as, financial support. And then exposure in going to conferences and being able to present, the investment in developing them towards the what we would consider the terminal degrees in our field, which would be very hands-on research based. So many of them will get exposure to laboratory experience, and just altogether creating a community of scholars that are equally vested in transforming society through the skills that they will receive. So I think, LAMP is pretty much one of the first reasons why I have a PhD in chemistry. And I think many of my colleagues that were also involved in the program.
And where did you participate in this program? Was it Grambling?
Yes, I was a student at Grambling State University from 2003 to 2007, and was part of the LAMP program there. And it was the first time that I saw degreed African Americans and scientists all together, and that pretty much transformed my whole outlook on science.
And so tell me a little bit more about what you did at Grambling when you were in this program.
So I was inducted into LS Lamp as a scholar in about 2004. And Dr. Tang Zhu, rest in peace, he was the advisor at the time. And he was probably one of the most vested people who, just you'd say lived and thrived through mentorship. And he was probably one of the best people to be the advisor. While there, he allowed for the LAMP grant to be used to offset book supplies. And we know for students, aside from room and board, the next expensive things are books. And I was a student at the time when we didn't have digital books. So we had to buy the $350 books. And most of your STEM courses, those books are that expensive. So the LAMP award helped with that. And then I also, was allowed to do these research experiences. So LAMP pretty much paid for a stipend for me to get hands-on experience to work with some of the faculty in chemistry. And that just pretty much snowballed into other opportunities. So I did internships at Colgate-Palmolive Company, University of Southern Mississippi, Mary Kay, then ultimately NASA when I was continued as a LAMP student through graduate school at LSU. I traveled for the first time. I went out of the state. Well, second time out of the state. First time, I'm from Texas. So first time I left the state was to attend Grambling State University when I moved all my things into the dorm. And then when I left Louisiana, I was able to go to other conferences. And so they exposed me to the nation, to other people. And it was, really cool because some of the people that I met in LAMP are my best friends. They're still my friends to this day. So LAMP was more than a scholarship program. It became a family. And when you're a nerd, you kind of need other family people, other nerd-like people to, latch on to help make life fun and equally invested in your curious knowledge. So.
And I don't know who this question is for. Why do you think this is a need at Tech? Who wants to answer it?
For all the reasons that Marcia stated. I would just add that, having support from NSF, from the regents, and in that partnership with Southern, we can retain Marcia's, not just recruit, but retain outstanding young people that are going to become the leaders of the future in STEM education. Programs like that provide support beyond just the funding, the people, and those relationships. It's important. And so, yeah, we're grateful for that lamp, for bringing Marcia ultimately to this group so we could turn around and help some humans.
And so, what would you say is the percentage of minorities involved in STEM academics right now at your university?
Tanya, I'm not sure that I have that data offhand.
If you can, I can try to email that to you.
Okay.
Let me know when your deadline is, because that requires some digging and some numbers.
Okay, you can just give me an estimate. It doesn't have to be like a. Okay, and so how do you guys plan to start this program? When does it start? How do you plan to kickstart it?
Well, now that our contracts are in place and our team is in place, we're ready to go. This news story is actually the first announcement that follows our press release. And so we're ready to identify some students who we want to support through this work. So that'll be our next step. Tanya's setting up a webpage for us on the Tech website, and then we'll welcome applicants and we'll get ready to get started forming those relationships and helping students do great things. That's the plan.
And over the years, have you guys saw a decline in minority students wanting to join STEM?
Again, I don't have access to that data, but certainly we would welcome more diversity on our campus. One of the things this group's talked a lot about are the complexities of the problems we're solving in STEM, and we need different opinions and ideas. Dr. Bostic can speak more to this as a former, NASA scientist and female scientist in industry. It's going to take different perspectives to address some of these issues. And so programs like this and conversations like this are important to help make those teams that are going to solve those problems. Laura, Jamie, do you want to add there?
About how important diversity is. Yes, you can elaborate more on that.
Yeah, I think oftentimes students don't know what opportunities exist for them, and some students who maybe are in minority groups don't know that those opportunities exist for them, because they don't always see students who look like them doing those things. And so a program like this really offers them an opportunity to enter that space and not just be within their discipline, but to meet students in other STEM disciplines. So I'm in biology. And so for a biology student to be able to interact with somebody in engineering and know that they have a group of students who like the same things that they like. I think that's, to Marcia's point about being nerds, you have to find other people who are like you and know that it's okay to be like you, and to have the support of faculty in pursuing those goals, because sometimes you feel a little bit like an outsider because you want to spend your Saturday in the laboratory and your friends don't. And so you have to find those friends who you can also identify with in that space. And I think this program will facilitate that for students and show them that these opportunities are there for them, that they belong there, and that there are people here who really support them in pursuing those goals and achieving those goals for themselves.
And does anyone else want to elaborate on that question?
I was just going to specifically say that, yes, I think that there has been a decline in the amount of diversity in STEM only as students get older. And that's usually because of the ideas when you're a child. You can dream of being anything. You're like, I want to be a dinosaur that, builds bridges. And that to an adult would, it's like, first, you're not a dinosaur, right? But as you get older and you get more responsible, you become more aware of society, and you start recognizing, what society says your abilities are, because, you have report cards and you have homework, and maybe you don't feel that you're smart enough to pursue certain avenues. A lot of times that is what contributes to the decline, I think, in student interest in general. And then when you add the complexities of, you know, whether or not you see yourself in that career because you do or do not see people that look like you, then that further complicates it. But with LAMP and other programs that, you know, a big NSF STEM initiatives that have been pushed to help broaden the perspectives of communities to careers in science, you know, in engineering and math and technology, I think that is going to help lessen that decline. And that's going to close those gaps that, you know, we might see currently in the workplace, whether it is, you know, with ethnic minorities, gender minorities, you know, people with disabilities or not disabilities. But ultimately, the first thing has to be with exposure. And when we can expose students to these opportunities, and then they can see themselves, then those statistics that, you know, have become declining over years will start increasing over years.
Our rocket scientist is incredibly quiet. I'm going to put her on the spot and make her share her enthusiasm for this work too before we hop off here for sure. Laura?
Okay. Well, as unfortunately the older member of the group, when I went to college for biomedical engineering, you know, I think back and I didn't have a single professor in engineering that was a female. And I know that starting in grade school, you know, like Marcia said, you start looking at what are your role models, you know, and if the thing that you think you want to do, there's no role model that looks like you, it doesn't start, it seems like it's not a possibility anymore. And so, you know, I think that the more that we can get people to not feel alone and feel like they have other people who want the same thing, and that there are people who have accomplished what they want to accomplish, then it really gives you motivation. My background to some extent is in special education, and working with children who have blindness or visual impairments. And you know, when I've done science camps with them, when they meet, you know, like another person who is blind, who has a PhD in chemistry, it's just, you know, they're floored, they're awed, you know, that's a possibility. And I think it's the same, whatever the underrepresented group is, being with people who they can relate to and share things with is really, that support is what's going to get them through.
And how many students can
Oh, we lost you, Taylor.
sorry, how many students can join this program, be a part of it?
Well, it's not a huge grant, but I would encourage anybody interested to apply to be part of this network. I think it's a great problem to have for us to have so many students who want to be part of this community.